Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, Josh Mansfield, on this Tuesday, July 30th. Josh, the Olympics are off and rolling over in Paris. It's nice, European, right? Get up in the morning, flip it on.
Yep, that's
I have Gold Zone up right now. You know about this?
I don't know about this.
Let me tell you about it.
Okay.
They hired the Red Zone NFL guy to do Red Zone for Olympics, essentially.
It's incredible.
So they just whipping around to different stuff. They just take you into whatever is interesting, medal matches, which for me is the perfect format for watching Olympics.
Completely agree.
Because I don't want to try to figure out what's on and then or wait for the NBC broadcast, which then they're showing you stuff that happened like 12 hours ago. No. I want to watch it live, and I want to see only what is interesting now.
Well, and that's the thing is trying to follow. If you are a diehard fan of a single sport, I think it is possible to find the correct broadcast schedule so that you can watch all the group.
You can go all the way in,
qualification, whatever, whichever sport you're watching, and watch all the way through. But that requires a lot of research and dedication to focus and to pin down when and on what channels and where you're going to find all that, if it's broadcast at all. And so I think I completely agree with you. This is the much better way to consume the Olympics, largely.
Now, I thought this was only on Peacock, but you can get it if you have a cable subscription. I am using my wife's, my father-in-law's login.
Okay, nice.
And I have it on NBC Sports app.
Okay.
So that's what I recommend to people. Okay, so I bring this up because I was thinking about, is disc golf going to be in the Olympics? No, it's not. No. Not anytime soon. But next year, disc golf will be in the World Games.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about this because I'm wondering, are people going to care? Which is both, will fans care and watch? Mm-hmm. But I guess really the more important question is, will players care to want to represent their country? Because if the good players go, I think fans will watch.
Agreed.
But I don't know. I really don't know. Are they going to be able to convince Gannon and Calvin to go to China? I don't think you win money for these kinds of events.
Right.
So the players themselves might be like, forget it, man. But this is also a huge opportunity for global marketing. Mm-hmm. And China's been an awesome disc sports country over the last couple of years since the pandemic. So I'm just wondering, will people care? I mean, ultimate, it's huge. Mm-hmm. Countries, only 8 countries qualify, I think. The best of the best play.
Big deal.
It's the Olympics for us. Yeah. But I'm worried that disc golfers are going to be whatever. And maybe the European teams will send good units over there and the Asian countries, but the US is going to be nobody's. I'm worried. Maybe the PDGA should pony up and pay for the team to go, That's
exactly what I was about to say. It is going to be a direct function is if their manufacturers, Pro Tour or PDGA, say this is a worthwhile investment to us, we will pay for you to go over.
Right.
If they do not pay, players will not do that out of their
I think you're right. Why would you go?
Yeah.
It's especially if you're missing opportunities to earn money at tournaments.
Exactly.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Let me look at when it is, because that's also important, right? 7th to the 17th of August. When is Worlds next year? I know they've announced dates, right?
I don't know.
We know it's going to be July 30th to August 3rd. So the European Disc Golf Festival will be July 17th to 20th. So it's actually going to be 1 week before Worlds, Josh.
That makes it more likely then that a team or a delegation from the U.S. could be paid to go over.
I mean, you're already there.
The two big
Finland, you're halfway to going to China.
Your most of your majors are done until USDGC.
That's correct.
So,
all of the majors are done until USDGC.
Right. Is US Women's done before?
Yes.
Okay.
US Women's is in June in Wisconsin.
So you don't have to worry about overlapping with another major.
Right.
or like, having to travel back quickly. Yeah, I mean, the hard part though is, and you've got to think about like, how does this affect the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship standings?
Well, and how does it affect tournaments? So here's a perfect example, right? We're coming up on Ledgestone this weekend.
Yep.
If you were to go play in this event, I guess you wouldn't necessarily have to skip Ledgestone, but that would mean flying all the way back from Finland, playing Ledgestone, and then going. Now, of course, they haven't announced the 2025 DGPT schedule, so something could change.
Correct.
But this is when typically would be when Ledgestone would be that first weekend back. I don't know.
The consideration. Here's the other thing though. How many players are we talking about? Probably,
I don't know if we've gotten like a full format for like what the format, like what it's going to be. I'm going to look back at what I wrote about this in 2023 and see if they actually announced it. 16 pairs of players, one male, one female, so it's 2 players, one MPO, one FPO per country, 16 countries.
Oh, well, I mean, that's even easier then, right? Like,
it's a low cost.
Like
if the PDGA wanted to foot the bill, maybe you're talking about like $10,000 to $20,000 total.
Not much.
It's like very reasonable budget wise if you wanted to make it happen.
And no serious disruptions to the tour, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Yes, you might miss. Let's say you miss 2 Pro Tour events as that individual, but if you plan properly, you're gonna have drops anyway.
Who do you send if you're picking the team for the U.S.? Do you just go straight off the standings? That's probably what they would do.
The PDG, I'd probably just use PDGA World standings.
Exactly.
Is that what you're talking? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
So
it's
now probably Gannon and Own. I think
it's Own.
Well, unless Own represents Laos.
That's true. I don't think Laos would have a team.
Probably not.
But Missy would be the next one up, and then Holland after that. And that's current standings, right? This could change, of course. I would be pretty hyped about that.
Yeah, I would be too.
Like Gannon, the Gannons.
Gannons. Yeah.
That's like maybe the most likely outcome. I mean, Missy just won. Owen's been looking like she's a little bit hurt.
Yeah.
And then it's like Estonia. Who would it be? Tom
and Kristen. Yeah.
That's kind of fire.
That's a great team. Yeah.
Like I would watch the hell out of this.
Who's our Canada team?
Canada.
Is
Thomas Gilbert still the top MPO in Canada?
So Thomas Gilbert and Sophia Donachie?
It might be Sophia Donachie.
I mean, that'd be fun.
Legitimately might.
That would be fun.
I'd watch.
Yeah, I'd watch this.
I hope that players prioritize it and countries, federations like help make it financially sensible because it's a really cool opportunity. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's just cool, right? Going for gold. This is the chance that you get to like be like an international sport and like a meaningful team competition. I don't know. I would be pretty into it. All right, let's get into the show. So we had the European Disc Golf Festival this past weekend in Estonia. It was awesome. We had pomp and circumstance, video boards, smoke machines, thousands of people there. I think the major's going to crack next year.
It is.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, you could make a vacation out of this too. There's never been a better chance to say, you know what, I'm going to go watch disc golf in Europe. Like, fly from the U.S., you watch European Disc Golf Festival in Tallinn, you take the ferry over to Finland. It's a quick train ride up to Nokia, like, I don't know, an hour, maybe 90 minutes. And then you watch Worlds. And it's all in the span of like 2 weeks in the summer. It's beautiful there.
Great sounding trip.
What a dream.
Yeah.
So anyway, very interesting tournament. Ricky Wysocki sets a European rating record in round 1. 16 under, no bogeys. Absolutely blistering. It looked for a second there like he might get them all. That he might go 18 down. Not quite. But third highest rated round in the history of disc golf behind only Macbeth at McMemorial. People say that. And behind Macbeth at Maple Hill.
And honestly, the Memorial one,
fraudulent.
We typically throw those out anyway, so I'm fine giving Ricky the title of second best round in the world.
Do you think it's the second best round you've ever seen? I'm not quite there.
I'm not quite there either. Like, honestly, I think like Macbeth's, I don't know what it is
Macbeth,
by rating.
Vibe Open, that is the stuff of legends, dude. That was
Which
an
one?
Incredible round. His Maple Hill round.
Maple Hill. Oh, yeah.
That's
round
to me the best round that we've ever seen.
Agreed.
And then I think you put the 18 under D-Glow up there.
18 under D-Glow.
Holy cow, dude. That was crazy.
The final round at European Open from both Eagle and Paul, probably.
Brilliant stuff.
Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Ricky was really fantastic. He played amazing.
He did.
But I do think that the ratings were a little pushed up, maybe because of the OB or, people were comparing this course a little bit to Memorial.
Right. It's a heck
I don't
of
think
a
is
round.
Quite right, but
I agree.
It was an amazing round.
Amazing round, but I definitely can think of others that, in my mind, are a little bit better in terms of the skill and quality that's required of them.
We did a full Rapid Reax on this tournament. We would like to suggest that you get yourself a subscription and go listen to that and all of our back catalog. Join us in the Discord as well. We're not going to spend as much time on it today because we're going to focus a little bit more on the European swing overall as we kind of come out of Europe, come back to the U.S., get ready for Ledgestone, and on this road to Worlds, which is, how many days away is it? Today is the 30th. We have 3 weeks exactly until the start of Worlds. Does it start Tuesday?
Crazy.
No, it starts Wednesday. I'm sorry.
Wednesday.
So we have 22 days until the start of Worlds.
Wild.
Wow. Virginia is ready to go. Tickets have been crazy. It's going to be popping. So, anyway, shout out to Missy Gannon. Playoff win over Evelina. Had to beat out Haiti Lina. Had to beat out Evelina. Came back after a slow start. Great job for Missy Gannon. More on that in our reacts. So, Josh, let's zoom out and talk a little bit about this European swing overall. Before we look at the numbers, I just want to ask you, who do you feel like had the best European swing in your mind? And by the way, when I say European swing, it starts at Turku. Okay. We're not counting the earlier silvers and Copenhagen because they were not really part of the swing.
Sure. On the FPO side, it's got to be Silva. Had several wins and just played up until the European Disc Golf Festival, played excellent. Includes a podium and a major. So to me, it's just I want to just give the nod to whoever wins the major, but I don't think that's quite fair because Kristen did not play enough of the European swing because of her injury. So I'm going to give it to Silva and then probably Ricky, because didn't Ricky win 3 events? Did he win Sweden?
Ricky, I think he didn't win Sweden. I think he won. He still shot a course record.
He shot the course record. He won. He did win Krokol and European.
He finished 11th at Sweden.
Okay. Yeah, Ricky's probably my pick for best European swing.
Oh yeah, I think Ricky's easy call in aggregate. So let's look at the stats.
Okay.
Rick does have the most first place finishes. He had 2, Krokol and EDGF. He was tied for the most podiums with 3. With who, Josh?
I don't know. Was it a European?
It's a good idea, but no. I narrowed the list for you.
I have no idea.
Wow. It's Paul Macbeth.
Is it really?
Paul Macbeth.
I didn't think there was
Sweden, third
any
at European Open,
that consistent.
Second at European Disc Golf Festival.
Wow.
No wins, but went second, sixth, third, second on the swing. Did not play Turku. And he is second in the European disc golf DGPT standings behind Ricky.
Okay.
Nicholas Antela got a win and a podium. Mauri Vilman had 2 podiums, Turku and Swedish. James Proctor had 2 podiums as well as a win, of course, at the Swedish Open. And Gannon Burr can't knock his play. 3 top 10s and a win at the major.
Yep. I mean, he played one of the shortest European stretches of anybody on this list until you get quite a ways down. And he still finishes 9th by only playing 3 of them.
Yeah. This list, the total points also includes all of those other silvers and Copenhagen, etc.
Oh, okay. So that even bigger knock against Gannon a little bit there. Yeah.
He crushed it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to pick up the major win because it's worth 200 points.
200 points out of the major is going to do you a lot of good. Yeah, absolutely.
On the FPO side, Silva does indeed win the European, or is in first place, I should say, and certainly almost certainly will win the European disc golf regular season standings. 2 wins on this, what we're calling the swing. Of course, more than that if you include the previous tournaments. Turku and Swedish. She goes second place at Krokle, second place at European Open, and still finishes top 10 at the European Disc Golf Festival, although it's definitely way off her pace. Yeah. 4 podiums for her, 2 wins. I think easily the star of Europe this year. Of course, you kind of have to squint and forget about Kristen, who did not play at all on this tour until Krokle when she won, and then won European Open with the comeback.
I forgot she won Krokle too.
Yeah. And then, of course, did not play great at the European Disc Golf Festival, but still finished in the top 10 at 8th.
It's one of those that I pick Silva because it's I don't even think you have to squint. If you look at the European swing, you have to go, yes, Silva was the best player, especially when you expand it out to include the silvers. But when it comes to what does that mean for the rest of the season? That's when I'm
yeah, of course.
Right. I don't know quite so much. I think you can derive more out of the MPO side in looking at kind of how it applies to larger season narratives than you can on the FPO side. Just because, as well, how many players were coming over. It's just so few American women, including some of the top. Holland, Owen, we've beat that horse plenty. We're not over there. So,
Evelina Salonen is in second in the DGPT Europe standings. Kaidi Alsalu third. Heidi Leina fourth, and then Kristen fifth.
Do those numbers include her Copenhagen win as well?
These are all aggregate
okay.
points for the season.
Okay.
So, there you go. I think
there we go.
Very impressed by Silva's play over the last 2 months.
Have to be.
And even if you want to discount the fact that she wasn't playing against full fields, I mean, she's still really, really impressive. And
beat some good Europeans.
Very good.
You know who I don't know if I have an answer for this on MPO side, but you know who was the most disappointing player to me for the European swing?
Who's that?
Ella Hansen. Ella played very nearly a full European swing. She was over here, one of the players who was over the longest. And in fact, at multiple of those early ones, she was the only American female that was over. Finished in 13th, 281 points. Got 1 podium. After that, the rest were outside the top 5. It just, I would have thought that having that much time and a couple of course, a little bit playing that style a little bit longer, that she might have had a better performance than that. And so I was a little disappointed.
I hear you, but on the other hand, what exactly would you expect
on those courses?
I mean, just I don't know. This is who Ella is. She's a really solid back end of the top 10 player.
Right. But 60% of your normal or 50% of your normal top 10 was not there.
I get it.
So that's why I'm thinking
underperformed the level.
She did. She should have. If she had gotten a lot of 5th place finishes, 5th and 6th, and stayed on hovered right around there, then maybe. But her getting 11th and 9th at European Open and European Disc Golf Festival, I think she underperformed.
I think it's fair.
Especially in the season where she's got her first win.
Yeah. I thought maybe we'd see a little more from her at European Open.
Yeah.
11th it's not terrible, but it's could have been better.
Could have been better. Got
outplayed by a lot of Europeans. So that is a kind of look overall at the European standings, and we now start the kind of the road to Worlds here back in the States. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some mail to open. I've also got a trivia question for you, Josh.
Okay.
Stay with us. It's the Upshot. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Pound Disc Golf's got some new colorways of patchwork octahulls made using scrap fabric. So you can get a combo like olive, navy, and coyote, charcoal, typhon, and turquoise, or black, forest, and charcoal. Go to pounddiscgolf.com and get yourself an octahull. If you really want to take some discs and some beers and some water and everything else that you need, get yourself an octahull. They've also got some new multi-cam fanny packs. So if you just need a little bag, we go from huge to small. Get a fanny pack, pounddiscgolf.com. Check out all the options. Are you tired of being tired? Are you ready to get 8 hours of unbroken sleep? If you answered yes to either of those questions, our sponsor here may be able to help. Sunset Lake CBD sponsors the Upshot and their hemp farm up in Vermont, making CBD products designed to help you get better sleep. As a former dairy farm that produced dairy and cream for another Vermont staple, Ben & Jerry's, Sunset Lake CBD is no stranger to quality ingredients or standing behind their products. In fact, they test every product for potency and purity and put the results online for all to see. They'll even mail you a copy with your order. I can attest to that. And that includes all of their nighttime products. Sunset Lake has gummies, tinctures, and soft gels designed to help you sleep gently and naturally. I already mentioned I'm thinking about taking some sleep gummies with me to Australia or on my trip. I got to make sure that I'm not going to violate any international laws, but I am going to check that out because I've used the sleep gummies in the past with the melatonin, and man, it knocks you out. And you get a great night's sleep. You don't feel groggy in the morning. Wake up ready to go, but can really help when you're just having a hard time getting sleep, or maybe you're dealing with some jet lag, So head over to sunsetlakecbd.com. Our listeners can get 20% off their order with code UPSHOT at checkout. Again, it's sunsetlakecbd.com. Sleep sound knowing that they stand behind their products. Sunset Lake CBD, farmer owned, Vermont grown. Welcome back to the Upshot. Before we get into our mailbag, Josh, I have a trivia question for you and the audience today.
Okay.
This is straight theft from Statmando Discord. Shout out to Evan. 7 players have 2 MPO major top 10s in this season so far.
Okay.
And we've had 2 MPO majors, Champions Cup and European Open. 2 more to come.
Okay.
Can you name the 7?
Okay.
Now I'm making it hard, but really the question is about the 7th player, because I think the rest are very guessable. So just start throwing some out there.
All right.
Don't think too hard. Just who do you think? 2 major top 10s.
Let's throw Ricky in there.
Ricky's definitely on the list.
Let's throw Gannon in there.
100%.
Okay. Let's throw Isaac Robinson. No, did not a Champions Cup.
Wrong Robinson.
Oh, okay. Ezra Robinson then.
Ezra.
Okay. All right.
Ezra is on the list.
A game of
4
who
more.
did Ezra beat out again? Okay. Let's keep going then. Dickerson?
Yes,
Okay.
great one.
Okay.
Great get.
So we got Dickerson in there. I gotta give Prez a nod. Is Prez in the top 10 at European?
No, I like the thought, but
I remember
not
us
top 10
seeing that he
European
was
Open.
doing okay at European, so I couldn't remember.
He has solid start, but I think fell off the pace.
Okay. Is Kyle Klein on the list?
No, he's not.
All right, I might start.
Think teammate.
Think team. Oh, okay. So are we thinking like Nicholas Antela?
Nicholas Antela.
Okay, so I'm
is
at
on the
5
list.
now.
There are 2 more.
I don't know. I don't know if Paul finished the top 10 Champions Cup. Did he?
He did.
Okay, so Paul's 6.
Macbeth is number 6. Okay, so you've got the easy ones.
Easier ones, yeah.
Can you get number 7? I will Venmo you $10.
Okay. Let me think.
You get two guesses.
Okay. I am not looking. I really am. I have no. I have.
This is if he gets it, I know he cheated.
No. Okay, I'm never gonna guess it. So give me Albert Tom.
I like the guess, but no.
Okay.
I wonder how close Albert Tom was.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
He was not close.
He was not close.
28th at European Open.
Shoot.
77th Champions Cup.
Look, I just went for one that
The man can't putt, Josh. You can't think that he did well at Northwood.
I know. Okay. Northwood. Who did we see on coverage?
One more guess for $10.
Is it Joey Anderson?
That's a great
Dang
guess.
it.
That's a very good guess. Let's see what he did. Joseph Anderson, 70th at European, unfortunately, but he did top 10 at Champions
Dang
Cup.
it.
And it's too bad because he played so good leading up to European Open. He was 2nd at Swedish and 4th at Krokl, but then just had a bad EO.
Okay.
So not Joseph Anderson. The answer is Robert Burridge.
I never would have gotten that.
I know. Think about that. He has more major top 10s this year than Elite Series top 10s. His only top 10 on a DGPT event is 10th at OTB.
Gosh.
On the list of 7, the only player to podium both times is
I don't know if. Well, it's either got to be Rick or Gannon. Where did Gannon finish at Champions Cup? I don't know. So give me Rick.
It is Rick.
Okay.
Yes, it is Rick. Ricky, 2 podiums at majors this year. He's this close. What do you have to do? You have to fly to New York?
I have to fly to New York. I fly to New York and I buy you Knicks tickets.
He is borderline the favorite for Worlds right now. Him and Gannon.
Yeah.
Let's actually get to that as our first mailbag
Okay.
of the day. Okay.
Is it the one, Charlie?
No.
Okay. All right.
But we are going to get to that one. Don't worry. What we have is early Moonrocks Worlds odds.
Okay.
In the Discord. He's got Gannon and Ricky at 4 to 1.
Okay.
As your favorites, co-favorites. Calvin Heimberg, Paul Macbeth at 7 to 1. Kyle Klein, Isaac Robinson, and Anthony Barella at 9 to 1. Then you've got Chris Dickerson and Nicholas Anthela at 20 to 1. Matteo and Lazat at 25 to 1. And then at 100 to 1 on all of these guys, Ezra Robinson, Cole Rodolin, James Proctor, and Eagle McMahon. 100 to 1.
I'd probably put money on all 4 of those guys.
I think Eagle at 100 to 1 is truly insane.
Yeah.
I know Eagle's not playing great right now, and I can acknowledge that he's definitely a little out of form, but like a 1% chance, the guy's too good. You never know. If he suddenly snaps into form, he could just absolutely shred it.
Yep. And especially on a course that we've never seen before, like I think putting any of those guys at 100 to 1 is a risky play. Like Ezra Robinson has finished in the top 10 at both majors.
100 to 1 for Ezra is not bad.
I like those odds.
The value is there.
The value's there on all 4 of those guys.
Like I would definitely bet those guys before I bet like Matteo or Simon at 25 to 1.
Yeah.
I also really like Chris Dickerson at 20 to 1.
I think that's a good bet.
He's been good this season, and we're going to be on a nasty woods course. The guy's that's what he does.
Yep.
Of the favorites, I probably like Macbeth. Honestly,
Was he 9 to 1?
7.
Man, I don't know.
It's like a course. One of the courses he built.
It is. I do.
He's playing great.
AB at 9 to 1, depending on what kind of AB we've got going into the weekend.
I just don't know if I feel the vibes.
It depends on. Listen, we've got 3 weeks. Anthony Barella could be
do.
the worst player on tour in 3 weeks. He also could win 3 more events before then. So, who knows? Who knows which Anthony Barella you're going to get in 3 weeks? And that's the hard part that you've got to wonder about right now.
Yeah. Very interesting. On the FPO side, Moonrocks has Kristen Tatar at minus 200. So bet 200 to win 100. Missy Gannon at 10 to 1. Owen Scoggins at 12 to 1, along with Evelina Salonen. Holland Hanley at 14 to 1. Haley King and Silva Saarinen at 25 to 1. Paige Pierce at 35 to 1. Ella Hansen and Valerie Mondahano at 80 to 1. And then all of these players coming up at 100 to 1. Hannah Blomroos, Kat Murch, Natalie Ryan, Heidi Lina, Anniken Sten, Katrina Allen, and Weatherman. Emily, by the way. I blanked it for a second, but I remembered.
I didn't even notice. I filled in the blank for you in my head, so I did not even notice that you didn't say Emily.
I said everybody else's first
I
name.
did not even. You said Weatherman. I was like, oh, Emily Weatherman. Cool. Okay. Who's at 20 to 1?
Your 25 to 1s are Haley and Silva.
No. Where was
Handley at 14, Evelina and Owen at 12, Missy at 10.
Where was Valerie?
Valerie 80 to 1.
Jeez. I mean, I'd like to see it maybe a little bit closer, but 80 to 1 on Valerie is on a very well-rounded player for a course I have not seen before. That's my value bet right there.
How about a little Emily Weatherman sprinkle at 100 to 1? Why not?
Maybe. Maybe.
She just won a tournament.
I know she just won a tournament, but none of the Europeans were there.
Like none of these other players. So Kat Murch has won.
Yep.
Recently. And otherwise, none of these players have won recently, except Emily Weatherman.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, Anniken Sten has won recently.
That's fair.
Are you gonna bet her?
No.
It's kind of how I feel.
I don't think I'm going to bet Emily either. But I like Silva at 25 to 1.
Silva's not bad.
Come on.
Yeah.
You got to, like, I feel like she's got more than a 4% chance to win. The problem is, do you really want to bet on anybody besides Kristen?
But, man, Kristen's odds, I wouldn't bet on Kristen, though.
You can't. You can't lay the number.
No.
It's too much.
Terrible value.
Implied 67% chance to win. Which isn't unreasonable, but I just the value isn't there. Missy feels like a nice option at 10 to 1. I wouldn't blame you if you bet Evelina at 12 to 1.
Honestly, I kind of like Evelina because I don't know what the FPO layout is, but I think this course is fairly long too. And so, I mean, it's just giving me Northwood vibes, which, hello, Evelina won. So that's, it's definitely more fair than that from what I recall of the video I watched with Simon and Paul a couple of years ago. But yeah, we need to get an interview to get an idea of what this course is going to look like.
All right. Well, let's move on to some more mailbag, Josh. Okay. I'll let you grab a piece of mail. You can always get in touch with us at upshot@ultiworld.com. We love hearing from you. We read every single email, even if they don't get read on the air.
Yeah, let's start with an email from Joshua. Joshua says, Of course. I'm just going to pick that one. Namesake, man. If you want your email read, just change your name to Josh and you'll get it. Don't worry.
You don't have to change your name. Just put Josh as a...
All right. So he had a couple sections here in this email. So I pulled out this part that I wanted to read. So speaking of Jomez, is it a mistake not to release the European Open coverage on YouTube? I think so. European Open has the best optics of any tournament in our sport. This is the tournament you want everybody to see, and it's the only tournament that if a person turned on a random sports channel one Sunday morning, they might keep watching if they were not already a disc golf player. I've had the European Open on TV with company over, and the non-player guests were amazed and intrigued. You might get a few people willing to temporarily subscribe with these restrictions, but even the most hardcore players didn't realize that Jomez would be behind a paywall. That is true. I saw lots of people who had no clue what was going on, and they were very frustrated. They're not going to buy it to watch at this point. And in fact, they're pissed and seem intent on holding a grudge. Maybe it will be released later and aired on a different network, but he thinks that the more eyeballs on this one, the better. Thoughts, Charlie?
I am always going to be understanding of decisions to put coverage behind a paywall, given the fact that they have to pay for media rights for this tournament, and it's very expensive to go to Europe and do all of this. So, like, what's the plan, right? Like, as long as it gets released later, I don't really see what the problem is. And like, you just can't expect them to give it away for free. I mean, I guess the premise of the email is that like, this is wonderful coverage that we want people to watch because it would get them interested in watching disc golf.
Yep.
And I think that's probably true. I think this is a very optically pleasant tournament, especially at the Beast. You just have these like throngs of fans and
the four
perfectly
banners,
manicured fairways, and everything's very crisp and professional. And so I agree with all that. But the problem is, like, you put it up on YouTube for free, right? How many random people are coming across that and then being like, oh, I'm going to become a disc golfer, I'm going to start watching? 2? 10? Like, it's not enough to give away all of the money that you would get by putting it behind the paywall. So my feeling is try to find a way to put the coverage onto the internet later, or maybe even air it in Europe somewhere on television, and take advantage of the same exact thing that you're talking about, because the average person doesn't care that the tournament isn't happening live in front of them. So you're going to still get that same benefit, even if it comes out later. Which is why I think all Jomez next day coverage is going behind the paywall.
And it becomes
it's coming.
Week, kind of.
It's coming. Exactly. You have the first round on, Monday. And then they release one a day on YouTube after the weekend.
Hey, guess what, Charlie?
Because, like, if you're watching for free, and the spoilers people are going to lose their minds.
Yes.
But if you're watching for free, like, why do you feel like you should be able to watch it basically in, close to real time? You shouldn't. You should have to pay to watch the post. Like, they would basically release Jomez behind the paywall in its current setting, and then it would go up for free on YouTube following the event. It's a logical thing to do. You're still getting all the benefits of it being on YouTube. It doesn't really matter to the casual fan who isn't like interested and invested in knowing what happens pretty much right away. And you're pushing more people into subscriptions. It's an inevitability.
Round 1 of European Open went up on YouTube on Jomez yesterday. And
it did.
I think round 2 went up yesterday as well. Round 3 went up today, and round 4 is not quite up. So
what are the numbers looking like?
Round 1 yesterday, MPO front 9, 57,000 views. So, round 3's been up for 24 minutes.
Okay,
so
it literally just dropped.
Literally just dropped. So hard to frame that one. Here's the one thing that I would say that I think that could have been done. The communications, the people who are just watching Jomez casually are not the ones who are reading Disc Golf Network press releases that talk about the fact that European Open is behind a paywall. Jomez should have put out a video, and maybe they did, and I just didn't see it because this is not where I go to get my news. But I think Jomez should have had a video titled like European Open coverage released on the Monday of the week of the European Open that said, listen, this is when you will get the coverage. You need to go purchase a Disc Golf Network subscription for the month.
Totally.
If you want to watch Jomez next day or watch live. Otherwise, you will be waiting until these dates when we will be releasing it on YouTube. That's a video that should have been on Jomez. If it was not, I think like we have to think about not only where people consume their disc golf like content, but also where they get their news from, and we have to make sure that that news is properly delivered.
And like how to like take your people from this to that, and be like European Open and like sell how sick it is. Because and then he's like convince people to start to make that switch over, which is what you want, right? That's now that the Pro Tour owns Jomez, that's the whole concept here.
That and Joshua's spot on that like people who went on Wednesday or on Thursday to watch Wednesday's round or Friday to watch Thursday's round is what it was, and couldn't find it on Jomez, they were pissed. And they're like, where is this? And they're looking everywhere, and then they finally find the news after some searching that, oh, psych, you can't get this yet. And those people aren't going to buy a subscription, most of them.
Now, I will say, Josh, they did post a community post 11 days ago, which was...
Where is that community post?
It's like a weird, like, you can kind of like make a little blog post on your YouTube.
Okay.
If you go to their channel and you go all the way to the right in the headers, you'll see community. Click that. And it basically does exactly what you said, which is...
That's good.
Hey, this starts this weekend. Our next day coverage will be only exclusive to DGN Pro with a link on how to subscribe. And they said it's coming to our YouTube channel starting Monday, July 29th.
Okay, good. That's good. So they deserve credit for that, for sure. But I didn't even know that community tab was a thing. So,
well, the thing is, if you're subscribed, you'll like get it in your feed.
You get it in your feed. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that
they
works
did what
then.
you wanted.
Good.
I can see your point about wanting a video, but like they basically did what you wanted.
All right, then that's good. That's fine.
Yeah. People are definitely big complaining in the comments, by the way.
Well, that one, like, get over it, right? Like, if you were made aware that $7 will get you access to this coverage, which, mind you, is cheaper than they have charged.
Well, it's not $7, right? That's the upcharge. Like, you got to pay like $20 or something.
Oh, because it's pro.
Month of DGN Pro.
But
yeah,
what's the discount for PDGA members?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Anyway,
half off.
Whatever you're spending.
Hey,
you knew in advance. You have no complaints, right? Like, you've been enjoying your free content, and there are some of these that you are not going to enjoy for free. Thanks for the email, Joshua. It's good thoughts.
All right, let's move on. Let's see. Nathan asks, do you think Gannon and Anthony Barella would still have this great of a year so far if they were with their prior manufacturers? I think with Gannon, Discmania Discs helps him do more with his skills, while with AB, the different environment has led to his successful year. What do you think?
How long has AB been with Discraft?
I think 2 years.
2 years now?
I think this is the second year. I think.
First for Gannon, I don't think that we can say that Gannon, because here's the counterfactual, right? The counterfactual that Gannon stays with this company is that they solve their personal beef that I think overshadowed a little bit in previous years. And so the behind the scenes beef gets solved. So assuming that's the case, I think Gannon was a better putter with the PA3s than he is with the Lynx. Given his putting style, the lack of glide, the feeling like you're throwing a brick that I think PA3s feel like, I hate them. I cannot putt with them. I know some people love them. I cannot get it. But Gannon, I mean, he yams on those putters, and I think that he was a better putter with those discs than he is with the Lynx. So if anything, I think Gannon actually would probably perform just as well, if not a little bit better, with his old discs. AB, I do agree that the different environment has been a big contributor to his success. We know he's close friends with Yuli, with Paul, and he's been able to develop a personal brand inside of Discraft that I just don't think was there to the same extent over at Innova. And that's something that I've seen a level of like confidence be built into Barella's game that I don't think he would have been as successful at Innova as he is now with Discraft.
I'm going to be a big Archer, not Arrows guy. I don't
Fair.
think it has anything to do with any of the Frisbees for these guys.
That's fair.
They're so good.
They are good.
Now, the putting point you make is backed up by the data. Last year, he was 87 and 40.
Okay.
C1X, C2. This year, he's 89 and 34. So, you know, he's been a tiny bit better C1X, but he's been significantly worse from C2.
Which I think a new putter, like the further out you get, the bigger difference that's going to make. Right? Like
probably yes.
Right. Inside circle 1, you can throw whatever. Right. But inside circle 1's not going to make the biggest of differences. But once you get to circle
especially
2,
for somebody who's like him, it's just automatic.
Correct. But from circle 2, I think that starts making a big difference or bigger difference.
Yeah. I think it's fair. But the question is, is it really the putter that's the issue, or is it just the change? I think it's more the change
Agreed.
and like adapting
Completely
than anything else. So, yeah. But you know, look, Nathan, it doesn't matter who they throw. They'll shred with whatever you give them. They figure out what works for them, and they dial in their discs, and they know, you know, maybe they have slightly different shot selections or options, but they typically are going to be able to handle that, especially when they're at the level of those guys.
Yep.
What's next, Josh?
Next up, I love this email from Duncan. There might be an obvious answer to this, which is why all this discussion makes more sense. But his question: why does the PDGA not want C-tier TDs to have bunker rules on their courses? This is in reference to the European Open Hole 16 change. It takes a specific exception right now, but why isn't just in the rules that you can have a bunker hole to begin with? Whatever the reason is, the PDGA can tell it to the TDs. I'm sure I've missed something though. Best Duncan.
I think the answer is they do not like scenarios where players are not advancing as they make their throws. So with the bunker rule, right, let's say you have Bunker Island, like 16, you could just sit there and chuck it into the OB a zillion times and just never...
Especially
you're just dead, right? You never, ever get to go to the island.
And not to like hate on any division, but like a course, for example, that doesn't have a good ability to change layouts for FPO players or for FA1 or FA3. Like if you're playing the same course as the MPO and you put a bunker rule in for an FA3 player, that could be very difficult.
Yeah, so I think that's the reason that they don't want them, or that they've started sort of like knocking out those kinds of rules or making them unrated, like we've seen for 17 at USDGC. Whether that's a reason not to have it at a professional level major and not rate the rounds for a professional level major, that's where I have a problem with the logical extension, right? We don't need to treat a C tier the same way we treat a pro major, where everyone at the tournament is rated over 1,000 in MPO. To me, they're just different beasts. Yep. But I think that's the reason that they would give you. They don't like stroke and distance type stuff.
I will say with guidelines, I think that there could be a rule from the PDGA for C tiers and below and any other thing in between.
I mean, of course, they could easily just say bunker rules are not allowed for anything besides approved PDGA tour professional partners.
Sure. No, I'm saying that they could put a rule in pretty easily that says bunker rule with auto advance after 3 for amateur divisions.
Sure.
Sure. You could. This is the PDGA is making this way harder than they need to be.
Okay, this one comes from Nate. Why not do drone flyovers live? It's a little annoying watching a drone fly over a fairway that doesn't look like what the players are about to throw. Sometimes you can tell the video is taken weeks or sometimes months before with different foliage or basket placements that are confusing. Think about a drone flyover live at a major. Not only would you see the updated version of the course, but excitement from fans would boost the vibe too. This is just pure logistical.
Yeah.
You got people playing the course. You can't be flying a drone right over their heads. There's safety issues with being that close to players. People are going to be throwing, like a lot of times you don't have that gap to be able to just fly the hole unencumbered. There's a reason all these drone shots are way up in the sky.
Exactly.
It's safety and noise.
Yep.
They're noisy. So I think it's just not going to happen. That said, I do agree with you that all of the drone shots should be from that week on the current basket placements, and they should show more of the drone shots so you know what you're looking at when you see them.
Yep.
I've been complaining about that forever.
Easy answer. That nailed it, Charlie. Thank you. Next question, Stu. When is the next time Gannon is not world number 1? As of July 24th, Gannon overtook Calvin as world number 1 in PDGA rankings.
So Gannon just took over number 1. When will he next not be rated number 1? Oh my gosh. I'm going to say in 2 months. Basically, my thought is...
I think we're going to have the same thought.
It's more likely that it happens now in the short term, while like Calvin is still carrying 2 years of tremendous play, and you have other guys who are in that conversation. Ricky, Ricky's actually number 2 right now. Calvin is 3, Matteo 4, Isaac Robinson 5, Kyle Klein, Paul Macbeth, AB, Nicholas, Chris Dickerson. That's your top 10. I think it's more likely to happen now than if we want to start projecting forward, when I think Gannon is going to start to like grow his lead, because his level of play over the last 6 months has been the highest by far in MPO. When you look at the kind of like consistency and all that.
Yep. I think Gannon doesn't lose it until one of the top, I'll even say top 10 guys. Top 10 story too big. Top 5, Gannon keeps number 1 until someone else from the top 5 wins a major. So like Rick and Calvin. I think Gannon's play is going to be consistent enough, and we know he's winning at majors, that you need someone like Rick or Calvin, who have consistently been at or near the top, to win majors to overcome it. Because Gannon is playing at a level that is too consistent, with too many wins, and with majors to his resume that are going to count for extra, that you need the major from one of the other guys in order to overtake him. So I maybe that's a little bit of a cop-out answer, because I'm not giving you a specific time, but I think you need Rick or Calvin to win a major to overtake Gannon now.
So speak up. When's it going to happen, Josh?
Well, it's not going to happen for the next 3 years, apparently. So doubling down on that bet.
You think he's going to... I mean, it is not inconceivable that we are watching the start of a multi-year Gannon number 1 run. That's possible.
I think that's actually probable more than anything. Yes. He has the complete like rankings package right now of has only missed the top 10 like once. He has a great cash streak going. He's won majors in how many? He's got 2 majors in the past 3 years, and he's now 4 wins to boot this season. Like, if he continues to play, and the thing is, this does not feel unsustainable. There's no reason Gannon couldn't do this again next year, and the year after, and the year after that. And I'm not compelled that Rick or Calvin are going to put together the kind of performance. And then the fall off is so fast after that, right? Gannon, 87.9 average points. Rick, 84.6. Calvin, 81.3. Matty O and Isaac Robinson are in the 60s. They're 60.5 and 60.3. The drop off is so fast that it has to be.
Well, and in my mind too.
Makes sense.
Like, those guys are not close to the level of play that we've seen from those top guys.
Right.
And now like somebody like AB is being held back by what he was doing 2 years ago.
Correct. So is
he'll
Nicholas.
probably climb the leaderboard over time, but
yes,
it's going to take time.
And agreed. And so I think Gannon is going to go on a multi-year run at number 1.
All right. Well, there you go. There you go, Stu. Josh is calling for multi-year number 1. It's not impossible, that's for sure.
It's probably not probable.
All right, but let's listen to all this hate coming from Josh towards Rick.
Yeah,
and
here it comes.
Quentin has had enough. Quentin has had enough. This is your question of the week and rant of the week. I had to edit this for length. I probably cut about half of it out, and it's still a beast. Quentin, you're going to receive a 1-month Ulti-World Disc Golf subscription. So you can come in to Discord, check it all out, and we appreciate your email. Here we go. I don't know if Josh is going to appreciate it. I'm a big fan of the show, but Josh was killing me with shrill opinions after European Open. He seems to relish easy hot takes over thoughtful observation. Maybe that's his job. Come on, dude.
That's my Charlie Foyle is easy hot takes.
I'm a Paul fan. I love how he big boys Ricky throughout the years. But isn't it fairly clear that with Ricky, we are talking about, at worst, one of the 6 best players ever? Kenny, Barry, Feldberg, Doss, Paul, Rick. I may be missing some people, but on that list, Ricky could very credibly be placed 3rd of all time, presumably behind Kenny and Paul, or Paul and Kenny, whatever you want to do with your ordering. He's not a footnote in Paul's chapter, as Josh loves to say. He's a main character in disc golf history. His productivity, his distinctive skill set, the huge forehand 60-foot putt combination, plus absolutely elite backhand distance and surprising control, his longevity, his quirky style. He's in the pantheon. In my opinion, he is right now still the 2nd best player in the world. Everybody babies Barella. Rick is better by a mile. Rick's last 10 going backwards. 2nd, 1st, 11th, 1st, 2nd. And I think this email came in before he won EDGF.
It did.
So let me add it in. 1st, 2nd, 1st, 11th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 6th, 5th, 3rd. Are you serious? This is against a field that has never been better. Come on. Is he really getting worse? Josh was in the zone when he said this. Worse how? F those ratings points. He's as good right now as at any point as I've seen him since 2017. That 1056 was during a stretch when the 1050 boys were bossing the field. I think the mid-tier guys have raised their level, but I don't think for a second that the top tier has dropped. Does anyone think that? Ricky's major drought is glaring. It's a bad look. You guys mentioned some biffs and skipped over others. He also limped to the finish at the first Champions Cup and let Dickerson win it. But conversation about Rick on the Upshot is getting trite and reductive. There's a PS, but I'll save it.
Okay.
Josh, your thoughts?
Sure. Here's the problem that I think where we see the issue. The big discussion about Ricky, for me, is about the way that Ricky's legacy holds up in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. If you stopped and no one played professional disc golf again as of right now, I think Ricky does get to change his narrative about like kind of where he looks like, what his role is, and how he is viewed in disc golf history. And I don't necessarily dispute then the combination of both his success accolades as skill and his distinctive skill set in how we review that. But you're talking about a skill set that's distinctive from guys who never played with a forehand. I remember a joke that we made when Nate Doss on a coverage pretty early on his commentary career said, man, I don't know if, like, for an entire tournament, he just kept saying, I don't know if I would have thrown a forehand there. And people in the comments were joking because, Nate Doss, you never threw a forehand. Like, yes, Rick is one of the best, as of right now, two-way player for forehand backhand. But the players of 10 years from now are all going to be like dual threat players to a level that match or surpass Ricky Wysocki. Gannon Burr is already putting together a resume to rival that of Rick's. And he's 19. And that doesn't mention the long list of players who still have opportunities, who are young and could put together successful careers. Kyle Klein, Anthony Barella, Nicholas Antela, Ezra Robinson, Isaac Robinson, Cole Radalin, Gavin Rathbun. I mean, guys who are 6, 7, 8 years younger than Ricky, who have a long time that they're going to be playing after Ricky retires from the highest level of competition. You're muted, Charlie. So your point, you lost a lot of steam there.
Rats. Yeah, is what I said. And of course, future people could surpass Rick.
Yes.
But we can't crystal ball into the future. Well, I can. You can't. Obviously, there will probably be a player who we decide one day is better than Ricky, and maybe it'll be Gannon, who has 2 major wins in 10 starts.
Yep.
Ricky has 6 major wins in 41 starts. He's got the 4th most majors all time, behind Climo, McBeth, and Feldberg. Like, I know it's been a while since he's won a major.
7 years.
But I am compelled by Quentin's case, and I feel like the level of play we've seen from him lately, which I agree is as good as we've seen him play in a long, long time, definitely since he was winning the Worlds back-to-back. This feels like the level of play has just been absolutely as good as we've seen. And sure, like maybe Gannon will be better than him someday, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he is a legend. And I feel like we probably have been unfairly saying that he's going to be like pushed to the side in terms of the conversation about this era.
And
especially if he keeps playing like this for the next couple of years.
Not if he doesn't win another major.
Maybe.
I just don't think so. And
he still has the 4th most all time.
Okay, yes, but Charlie, he's got the Australia Open, and
yeah. I mean, he's got a couple of softer ones, but so does McBeth.
Sure, but it's like I think Ricky is falling on the worst of both sides of 2 eras. He's falling on the McBeth side, where McBeth just absolutely rocked his world for a decade. And now he's falling on the most competitive era of disc golf ever, and he can't win a major. So
yet.
yet. But I have said, and I still will say, if Ricky wins another major, that's all he needs. It's all he needs, I think, to really cement himself as a critical figure, because then he is the guy who won in both. He beat Macbeth several times, and then he came over and he continued to play well into the most competitive era of disc golf and the transition post-COVID and won another major. That's a narrative that keeps Ricky around for a long time.
I think really what it gets down to is the level of focus that you put on the majors.
It is.
I think that's a big part of this.
And
if you think performing at the most important tournaments and winning is most important, then, I think you have to really take some steam out of what Rick has done even this year.
And here's the other thing, Charlie. You and I we are very consistent in our application of the importance of majors.
Well, that's true. Right? Probably to the point that it annoys some listeners.
Not probably.
Quentin, and Ricky himself has said it's all about the consistency week to week for him more than the majors.
Right.
And by that bar, he's been excellent. He's won Player of the Year within the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle.
It probably is.
Quentin acknowledges the major thing has been a bummer, but Rick is definitely on it right now.
And I think that when I pointed out that I don't think Rick is going to win another major, I think I contextualized it poorly. I think it is a combination of there is something going on with Rick mentally that he gets in his own head at the majors, because there have been times when he has led, there have been times when he has shot scorcher rounds and not kept up. Like, he has had kind of glaring stumbles at the major that a player at Rick's caliber should have never given away. And I think combined with that something in his head about this, and we give other players a hard time for this. We give Calvin a hard time for this. We give Simon a hard time for this. I think there are a handful of players that you can give a hard time. Eagle was another one who got a bad rap for this for a long time. And I think combined with that and the fact that Ricky is one of the oldest players who are active in MPO right now, the time that he has in order to win a major is running out. The field is going to keep getting better, which means he needs to resolve that mental game issue with the majors sooner rather than later if he wants to get another one. And that to me is it's gonna take. That's what it's going to take. And listen, you know what we said in the Rapid Reax, Charlie? We had a comment from the Discord. I can't credit it right now because I don't have it in front of me, but we credited a comment that the Ricky and Paul battles of the past were defined by them both hitting putts down the stretch to create a just absolutely scorcher of a battle between the two of them. And this last weekend was defined by both of them missing putts when it mattered the most. And so you can't tell me that this isn't any different than it used to be.
It does feel a little bit different. It does.
He's got to win a major post-COVID. He's got to. Otherwise, that's what defines him.
All right. One more thing from Quentin on the PS.
This is a fair
Calling
PS.
James Conrad the Eli Manning of disc golf is as tuneless as can be. Eli is known as the guy with uninspiring play, racked up stats, and led good, not great teams to unlikely Super Bowls. James was a major lead card staple for years. He was knocking on that door. His style is absolutely signature, not boring for a moment. Isaac Robinson makes this kind of style look easy, beautiful, in an almost perfected kind of way. James made it look the way it feels for the rest of us. Jerky, improbable, awesome. Forget the holy shot. James is beloved as a player. Now remember the effing holy shot, the most amazing thing I have seen in the sporting world. You did your job, Josh. You pissed me right off.
Listen, I have always said, and in the past, like especially in like my experience in debate, the problem with using analogies is that if you take most analogies to their logical conclusion, they don't work and they break very quickly and they hurt you more than they help you. This is a case where my analogy definitely hurts me more than it helps me. When I referred to James Conrad as the Eli Manning, I thought of it as the fact that Eli Manning went in and beat Tom Brady twice during Tom Brady's era of greatness. And I think of James Conrad as doing the same thing, right? Going head to head with Macbeth and in spectacular fashion, like beating the undefeated Patriots and removing that away from Tom Brady and his accolades. Eli Manning beat them, as did James Conrad with the holy shot.
You were not trying to comp his style.
I was not even a little bit. I have thoughts about Eli Manning that I won't get into on this show. I was specifically referring to James Conrad v. Paul Macbeth. I apologize. Taking it to its logical conclusion does cause problems.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Today's show, I should say. I believe our show previewing Ledgestone is going to drop tomorrow, and get you ready because it's 4 day.
It's 4 day.
It's an Elite Plus.
Yep.
All 4 rounds at Eureka and Sunset Hills. I almost said Sunset Lake. Check them out. So no Northwood.
No Northwood.
Because they played Champions Cup here. We will talk to Nate Heinold about who's TDing, of course, about that and about Worlds coming up right around the corner. And so join us, believe tomorrow, maybe early Thursday for our second show this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Josh, I'm Charlie saying, no. Charlie, hang on. hang on. We got
Pursewatch.
And really quickly picks. Josh and I did bad this week. We both got Ricky for a point. I got Evelina on my podium for a point. Josh bricked FPO. Very rare.
Yeah.
Very, very rare scene. He had Kristen, Silva, and Katie. And nope.
I thought Katie was going to stay on there for me and then had a pretty poor final round.
Kristen and Silva just kind of not bringing it this week.
Yeah.
I had Calvin and Dennis Augustin. Dennis Augustin was just a complete no-show. Wow. What a turnaround from last year.
Yeah.
Nicholas Antela and Kyle Klein didn't get it done for you, Josh. So I pick up a point, and I bet some listeners in the Discord who are following along with all the picks and making their own picks at discgolf.ultiworld.com/upshot-picks probably picked up some points on both of us. Pursewatch, not much to see here. I'm going to be honest. Pretty much right in line with everything else.
Yep.
Total purse 63,243. That's only about $500 less than Crokel. A little bit better on the money per person, $430 per person. Every single European event has had basically the same purse.
Yep.
8,059 for Ricky, 4,248 for Missy. And that's up about more than double from the European Championship purse for this. It wasn't quite the same event technically, but it was at the same course, same location.
Just in line with what you expected from what has been had from every other DGPT event.
Now we get to see what happens at Ledgestone.
It'll be interesting with only one course.
Almost 140K last year. We will see. All right. That's going to actually do it for the Upshot. For Josh, I'm Charlie saying so long, and we will talk to you tomorrow, Thursday, right here on the Upshot.